Good morning, everyone. We're really excited about the graduation that's going to happen today for both our elementary Hebrew school kids, as well as the Maimonides program, as well as the Solomon program. The synagogue will be celebrating 3 graduations today. And a graduation is not really an end, it's a beginning, as the word commencement is what the real name of a graduation is. And we know that on Simchas Torah, when we finish the Torah, we start right away from the beginning because there's no end to study and to learning. It's a lifelong pursuit. Now, in this week's Torah portion, we read about Aaron, the high priest, kindling the menorah. And our rabbis tell us that symbolically, it represents the kindling of the flames of the Jewish people's souls. And that's what education is. As they say, education is not the filling of a bucket, it's the kindling of a flame. It's a lifelong passion and pursuit of knowledge and study and connection to God through the Torah. Furthermore, Torah study is not just about knowledge, but it's about transforming our character and elevating ourselves like the flames of the fire of the menorah that strive to go higher and higher to help us become better human beings. You know the story about this student who was debating in his mind who to date to get married. So he went to talk to his ethics teacher. And he said, when I'm looking for a girl, what should I look for? And the ethics teacher in the university said, look for a girl with money, a rich girl. And he said, I can't believe it. You're my ethics teacher. You would tell me to marry for money? And the teacher said, I'm the ethics teacher. It doesn't mean that I'm ethical. When it comes to Torah study, you can't just study the values and the wisdom of the Torah. You have to implement them. You have to apply them to your lives. And that's a very important message for our children, that we have to kindle their flames. We have to inspire them to pursue a lifelong Torah study. Why? Because Torah is our very life. It's our essence. Just like you can't take a break from breathing, you can't take a break from Torah study. Because we always have to strive to become better human beings, to improve upon ourselves. As they say, the biggest room in the world is the room for improvement. And therefore, as long as we're alive, there's room for growth. And therefore, what we learn is not just abstract knowledge and wisdom, but it's day-to-day applied knowledge to elevate us and make us into better human beings. You know, when you say the prayer, Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Yisrael V'Emru Amen. When we pray for peace at the end of the Shemona Esrei and at the end of the Kaddish, we take 3 steps back and we say, Oseh Shalom B'mromav, Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Yisrael V'Emru Amen. Why do we take 3 steps back, turn our head to the right, to the left, and to the middle? And one of the answers is that sometimes people are butting heads when there's a lack of peace and they're fighting. And in order to make peace, you have to take 3 steps back, meaning you can't stand your ground. And then you have to acknowledge one view and another view, right and left, and then come to the middle with a compromise. And that's what the world needs more of. There's so much hatred, so much anti-Semitism. We need to learn to live in peace with kindness and love. And that's what the Torah does, teaches us how to pursue a life of kindness, goodness, and righteousness. The story told about a family that was celebrating their daughter's graduation from medical school. And the whole family went to celebrate it. And they were so proud of their daughter, who was the valedictorian. And when she walked across the stage, everyone was applauding, and she went and made her valedictorian speech. After the graduation, their family went off to a restaurant to celebrate. And when they went off, they were walking down the street to a local restaurant, and the girl was wearing her cap and gown. And as they passed the corner, there was a homeless man sitting on the floor on a cardboard box with a little coin box in front of him. And the homeless man called out to his daughter and said, Katie, how are you? And he said, John. She said, John, how are you? And the father's looking as they go up, and they have a very warm conversation. And then the girl says to the homeless man, I want to introduce you to my parents, and introduces the homeless man to her family. And the homeless man says, I want you to know you have such a wonderful daughter. God bless you. You should be so proud of her, because I sit here on the corner every day, and hundreds and hundreds of students walk by me to go to their classes. Most of them don't even look at me. Some put a coin in my box. But your daughter always greets me by my name. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, how are you? She brings me food from the cafeteria, her leftover lunch. You have such a magnificent daughter. God bless you. And when the father left the corner, walked off with his daughter, he turned to his daughter and said, I want you to know that when I saw you graduate as valedictorian in medical school, I thought that that was the proudest moment of my life, to watch my little girl become a doctor. But I want you to know that when that homeless man told me what a kind, compassionate young lady you are, that was actually a more joyous and proud moment for me as a parent. It gave me more nachas, because what I learned inside the graduation hall was that I raised a very bright young daughter. What I learned from the homeless man was that I raised a kind-hearted, good-natured, caring, loving daughter. And that's even more important and brings me even greater joy. Of course, we get nachas when our kids accomplish great things, but the greatest nachas is when we see that our kids are kind, caring, and loving. And that's what Torah, Jewish education does. It teaches our children not only how to be successful in life, like secular education does, and how to achieve great things, but how to go through life as caring, loving, kind, good, and generous human beings. Wishing all the graduating students a big mazel tov.